Welcome to the Science and Spirituality Podcast, where we dive deep into universal spiritual principles and ground them in modern science. My name is Chris Carden.
And my name is Kevin Carden. And we are committed to simplifying the spiritual side of success for you with easy to understand scientific research so you can walk away with practical tools to create radical transformations in your life. Let's get started. Here we go, another episode, and this one is to answer a particular question. It was more of just someone asking us to expand upon a concept that I often teach in my coaching, which is a principle in physics, which states that the system with the least diversity conducts the most energy. In other words, it's how do we be more productive, effective, and get more stuff done in less time with less energy and just moving forward more quickly. And it connects with physics. And so we're going to unpack that statement. The system with the least diversity conducts the most energy. So what do you got?
And I think when someone first hears that statement, hopefully it's like pretty intuitive. It's like, oh, okay, like, that makes sense. But again, we're going to unpack this. But I was just thinking of an example from literally before we started this podcast about how you were doing like 2 other different things or 3 other different things, like working on the t-shirt and like looking up like YouTube videos and everything. And it took us like 30 minutes to start this episode.
True.
Because again, like we weren't focused on just what we were trying to get done. It was a bunch of other stuff. And so because of that, we weren't as productive.
Yeah.
But,
true.
Closed all our tabs and honed it on, let's do this podcast. And we started right away. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And really quick, because you mentioned the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Guys, we might have t-shirts coming for this podcast. Just to...
That really don't have anything to do with the podcast. Like, it's not going to be like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, because I personally, I wouldn't even wear a shirt that said Science and Spirituality Podcast. Even though I'm biased, like I love this podcast. But
yeah, I feel like that would turn into like one of those shirts. Remember, like growing up, like mom would have like those old shirts that she'd use to clean with like the lemon pledge.
Yeah, 50 years later, our grandkids are going to be using that to clean the cars. Oh, God. Oh, anyway. God. Oh, God. Okay.
Anyway, here we go again. Like not being productive because, well,
not focused. It's on the topic. Yeah. We're providing an example of what not to do. But I actually want to give like a real example that happened in my life of like what happens when you are not focused or you take on too much. Because like one end of the spectrum is like you have so many things in your mind as ideas that you're literally stopped at the start, or the other end of the spectrum that you take on too much and you try to do everything and then you burn yourself out. So it's like one or the other, but like it's finding this harmony in the middle of having focus, having one idea or 2, max 3, like that you're really working on, like big goals that you can put your energy into. So back in 2014, right around the time I really got serious about changing my life and like personal development, because I left pharmacy school. For those of you who don't know my story, like I was in pharmacy, I left, I didn't want to continue down that career path. And I got a job working for my fraternity. So that was part-time work. But then since I had time, I was like, you know what, I'm going to get certified as a yoga instructor. And so I went in that path as well. And then I was also in a network marketing company at the time. So I was trying to build a business around that. Rackham. But then, and then the final thing that added on top of that, this is what was really like the thing that spread myself too thin, was I got a job working for my mentor's company. And that was part-time, but that was 4 different things work-wise that I had that I was trying to juggle all of those together. And I felt like I was dropping the ball on most, if not all of them. And I wasn't putting my full effort into it. And you can think of it, it's very straightforward, this principle that if you take on too much, then it will drain your energy. It will burn you out because you can only put so much energy and time into a certain number of things. If you try to do it all, you will do nothing. You'll just burn out. And that's what the principle is stating. So I want to just break that down really quick. The system with the least diversity conducts the most energy. Think about a pipeline that brings water from point A to point B. we're diving into, high school physics lessons right now. So point A to point B, there's a certain level of water pressure in that pipeline. But if you split that same pipeline into three different pipes of the same size, then the level of water pressure will drop in each of those three pipes.
Mhm.
It's just natural. It's what happens. And so that's the same thing with our physical energy as well. Like we can work on becoming more energy efficient, like managing our energy more by having our practices of meditation, like practicing yoga or exercising so you're lifting your energy up, but still there's only 24 hours in a day. So therefore there's only so much energy that can flow through your system in that time frame as well. So you just got to be careful about how much you take on, basically.
Yeah. Well, I think the the interesting thing is your example. You gave like an example of you being in actually doing too much.
Yeah.
Like when I think of this principle, I think of it as like you thinking about starting too many things or thinking
Mm.
about wanting to do too many things, and then you not actually taking action on any of them because you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's true.
Because that's how this statement resonates with me, because that's
Mhm.
usually the course I go in my life. Like I usually end up wanting to do too many things, but then like procrastinating on starting any one of them because I'm not focused on one, rather than starting all of them and then realizing I can't handle it. So this
Yeah.
also works in the upfront as well, where it's like if you're thinking about all these things that you want to do, or even if you're thinking about one thing you want to do, but you're thinking about all the steps, you're also creating diversity in that system of like, just focus on like what you can do in the day. Like what can I get started with right now on that goal? Or if you have if you have multiple goals, like pick one or two. Like I
Mhm.
think it was Warren Buffett who said a quote. He was like, write down 20 things that you want to get done in your life, and then circle the 3 to 5 most important ones, and then delete the rest.
Yeah.
So it's like start working on something and then be very specific on a certain few things until you start getting some momentum on there and you start gaining like I don't know, like some structure, and then start to maybe add more things. But again, like it's a very true statement, like the system with the least diversity, which means like focus on a few things.
Yeah.
Because
And
then that'll use, like you said, use your energy, it'll conduct it better.
exactly. And one thing that has really helped me with on the front end, because I've struggled with that too. It's not like I have it in my life. I just gave that one example of the other end of the spectrum, but like I think it's important to talk about both. Um, but the thing that has helped me on the front end, if I have so many ideas and I notice I'm procrastinating on starting on any of them, is I learned this idea. Go figure, I'm using the word idea, but the idea is called the ideas parking lot. And it's, you could do it in many different forms, but personally for me, I have a Google document on my Google Drive that I label the ideas parking lot. And if I have ideas that I want to take action on in my business or in my life, or particularly business, but if you could use this in life as well, and you want to prioritize, you list them all out. And then just as what you shared is like just picking 3 to 5 or a few or whatever that you feel like you can actually handle right now and move on that, but then keep the others in this ideas parking lot. So it's not like you're getting rid of them or feeling like you're losing out in any way. It's like it's there to pick up when you're ready. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because there could be this that fear of missing out. Of like, am I doing the right thing? But the only way you'll figure it out is by just moving forward on something that gives you more life, that inspires you, that sparks that feeling of momentum to then go for that and just stop thinking about it. Stop, wondering and kind of playing it out. It's like, oh, which one should I start first? Just go, like, just do
Mhm.
something. Like, time is precious, so don't waste time with that. It's just like considering like what all the things to do, of like all the different options, but just pick one and go with it, and then you'll find out. Like you'll
Yeah.
discover the if that is really the path to continue on and take.
Yeah, and I think we should do an episode as well, because I don't know if we've done one on like decision,
Mm,
making decisions. Because I'm reading a book right now, Raymond Charles Barker, The Power of Decision,
really good book.
and it's a really great book. And I feel like a lot of people, and again, another quote from, I think it was one of our presidents or something, where he said, like, I think it was in Think and Grow Rich, where he said the best decision you can make is the right decision, and then
Yeah,
the next best decision you can make is the wrong decision, and then the worst decision you can make is doing nothing.
yes. That
And
was
that just,
Theodore Roosevelt
yeah.
said that.
And again, that just speaks to like, if you have like so many things that you think you want to do, but you're not moving forward on any of them, your energy it's getting burnt out in like the pre-action phase.
Yeah.
So like pick something, put all your energy into that one or two things, and then you'll get feedback as you go. Like you'll
Exactly.
get feedback. It's like if you're going to put all your energy into it, you do like 4 or 5 like days or weeks or whatever on this one thing, you'll start to get feedback of if you like it or not, like real
Yeah.
quick. Like, this kind of sucks, or this is awesome. Like, I'm glad I started on this. So you making decisions and putting your energy somewhere can be both, like, it's diagnostic too.
Yeah.
You can start seeing like, oh wow, this wasn't the right thing to do, or this is the right thing to do, but you have to make that decision first.
Exactly. Like, I love that word you said. It's like diagnostic. The word that comes to my mind to correlate with that is just experiment. Like, that's the way you find out, and you just get more fine-tuned with your energy and how much bandwidth you have in a day or in a week, and what you can take on, and also then what resonates with you most, to then see, to really discover more of, like, who you are, like not even who you are, but like what's your personality like, like what resonates with you, like how many hours to put into something, or just like which direction to take. Like, you'll learn more about yourself that will help you become even more skilled in than focusing. But this is the way you do it. It's just by practice, by testing it.
And another quick example too, just before we close this out, maybe a more like visual example is thinking about like sunlight and then focusing the sunlight through a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the sunlight can warm you and everything, but if you focus that through like a laser, it becomes, it can burn through like a leaf.
Yeah.
So it's like all of your ideas, or maybe all the things that you're working on, could be like that light, but you really want to focus it in to start making some progress.
Exactly. Yeah. And the final thing I want to share about that is, because again, the question may come up, is like, or the fear is like, well, like, I don't know which to pick or which to focus on. Like we were saying, just choose, like decide. But one like one nuance that you can notice within yourself and just discover and ask yourself really is, what gives me more life right now? Like, I got this idea from Thomas Edison, actually. He would write down all different ideas to take action on, to fulfill his inventions and his ideas that he had in his mind. And after he wrote all different action steps of ideas to test, he would go first on the things that he would call, he said that they had more electricity to them. Like, the ideas, like they like jumped off the page, and like when he thought about them, like he just like felt more alive thinking about moving forward on it compared to others. Because like, that's why I love the ideas parking lot, because it's not like you want to discard things that actually might move you forward and actually may benefit you, but like keep them on the back burner, keep them there, but focus on the ones that you can prioritize, and the priorities come from how you feel about it. So it's your own personal energy. That's the one kind of nuance that I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I mean, just as a recap for action steps for this episode, for me, write down a list of 3 to 5 things, or you can make the list longer. Like you said, you can start building this idea parking lot, like Kevin said, and then look at the list, and something will jump off the page to you. Like, you'll be like, oh, this is what I should get started on. And then forget the rest for now. And then just get started on those things, so that you can place your focused, less diversified energy into something that you can start taking action on and make some like progress on. And then again, those action steps and you working on that will be diagnostic as well. So you'll start to see if you like it or not, and then you could adjust.
Yeah. And then always, again, the final point that I just made about tuning your energy to like knowing which priorities to, like, I mean, you said it actually, it's like what jumps off the page to move forward on. So yeah, that was a good recap. So just go forward with it. Use this episode as fuel to the fire, like motivation, inspiration to just do it. So we made this episode short for that reason. So dive in, and we'll see you in another episode. That's it for today. So thanks for tuning in, and we really hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it. So any questions, any comments, just connect with us on Instagram. You could always DM us at Kevin Francis Carton
and at Chris J. Carton. And also, if you feel guided to, the one thing we do ask is for you to please rate the podcast and leave us a review. This way we can reach more people and impact more lives with this amazing information. With that, we'll see you on the next episode.